community really is at the heart of Canva's mission and everything that we do. To stay true to this mission, I think it is very important to work closely together with our communities. From day one, Canva really grown with the help of its community, and it is today like a very strategic pillar across our company.
In this video from the recent Web Agency Summit, Canva's community manager Celine is going to show you how they built a thriving global community with over 2 million members and how you can do the same.
The topic of this session is how to scale a thriving SMB community. And I am super excited and honored really to get to talk to one of the community managers at Canva. I was wondering if maybe you could just talk for a moment about the importance of community there.
You can tell, I think, as you just mentioned, from showing the website and everything too, community really is at the heart of Canva and its mission and everything that we do. Our mission, maybe you've heard it, it's all over our website, of course, as well. It is to empower the world to design. To stay true to this mission, I think it is very important to work closely together with our community. So from day one, Canva really grown with the help of its community, and it is today like a very strategic pillar across our company as well, as you can see from all the different community groups.
How do you define success in community management?
I think for a community where members really feel seen and they're supported and inspired is super important for a community to be thriving. This is like my personal take on it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about, consuming value, because, where it's a one-sided, you post something and they just like read it or like something, but they're actually co-creating it. And the difference between communities and followers, and this is an important one, I think, we have this battle a lot as community managers, is that you have an engaged group of people. And that's why consistent engagement is very important for it to be successful in a community. It's not just about member count or, how many posts, but it just really is about consistent engagement. I think it is very important to have peer-to-peer connection in a community as well, where it's at some point starts to become self-sustaining as well. It doesn't mean you don't need a community manager, but it just means, you can hold their hand a little bit, but they are able to swim on their own. And, if there is member-generated content or advocacy, then, members are emotionally invested as well. And to me, that is the success of a community. I think in any community, and not all of them have this, is the why, and that the value proposition that they get from joining this community has to be really crystal clear. And that's why members want to join, because they know why they're joining and why they're part of that community. Because I feel there are some communities that exist out there where it's not so clear. It's like, why am I supposed to join this community? What do I get out of it? It's like, because you like a brand, because it's fun. Like, no, because people don't have extra time for that. So it has to be very clearly structured, whether it's hundreds you have or whether it's the first 20 or 30 people, intentional, first set of people you can beta test with, you can kind of ideate things with and talk on one-on-ones and have live sessions. You can then take it from there and grow it better. It's easier to have a small batch first and then grow. I know, especially if it's an SMB community, I know a lot of brands out there want to scale really quickly, right? In 1 month, we have 1,000 members. It's just not doable. So small baby steps, but, make it worth the while. Me personally, I use Facebook as well. We have a Facebook group and a Slack group for both of the communities. I personally like Slack. I know there's a lot of people like having mixed feelings about Slack. I do like it. I find Facebook, for example, much more difficult. The best way on what tool to use is to know where your community is at. So if, for example, they're not people who are active on Facebook anymore, because let's face it, some people are not. They like to use other social media platforms and have gone completely silent on Facebook. They're probably not going to check in there very often and not see the notifications. And then you're going to have a lot of monologues. So then it probably doesn't make sense to host your community there. It kind of is also goes hand in hand with what's possible. Like, can you have an integration in your website to have your own community in there, which you can do, as well, or do you have to host it somewhere else? These are all, of course, factors to consider when building your community and choosing what platform. When I started, for example, the creator community, and at the time it was kind of like just standard that everybody had a Facebook group. So I had it as a Facebook group as well for creators. And as I mentioned, there was a lot of monologue. There was not a lot of commenting or any members starting their own conversation. So I said, okay, let's set up a Zoom call. Let's all kind of get to know each other, because people are initially there because they're interested in Canva and the brand. They want to be creators, but they need to have some sort of formal way where I can communicate with them. They answer back to me. We have an actual conversation going on. So I said, let's go on Zoom. And it was quite at the beginning. So it was a really small group of people. And, it was a nice, fun chat with each other. I, introduced myself. I heard out their part of their stories. And I asked them, I said, look, we're on Facebook, but it was just like not a lot of things happening. So do you suggest we use something else, or what is the problem? And most of them said, look, I am not on Facebook. I'm not very active. I barely use it, as mentioned. And then I said, okay, what's your suggestion? What do you want to use? And initially, we kind of voted and everyone wanted to use Slack. And that's how we kind of migrated then over to Slack. And ever since then, I have to say, it's been really great, because the conversations happen on their own. We have different channels for different topics and themes, of course. So it's not always led by me, which is great. Whereas on Facebook, it was just me talking. So hearing out your members, I think, is a very important step in defining where you can have the best conversations going on with them.
What kind of incentives could you offer to get people motivated to join and then stay and participate?
You will laugh, but I'm also actually not an extrovert, or I say I'm a confident introvert. So when I first started,
I love that.
I had some difficulties actually, because I worked at Yelp. Yelp is, very bubbly out there, lots of events and everything.
Mhm.
And to me, that was at the time a little difficult, but I did manage very well. So I stayed there for 3 years as well. But it works, because most of the people I feel, who are online, they're also introverted too. And sometimes they just need a little bit of a nudge to get a conversation going. Like, I try to always put myself in their shoes and think of them. What would I do if I was in their position now? I just started a new, journey in this community. I joined as a member, but I don't think the first thing I would do would be like, hey, everyone, meet me. Just please talk to me. I would be like
Exactly.
lurker, in the background, trying to see what's everybody, saying, what they're talking about. And if there's a conversation that makes sense for me to join, I'd probably kind of chime in then. And I think this applies to most people. And that's why I first try to have one-on-one conversations with them, like DMs, or they join for an onboarding call session with me anyway, where it's just like me and the new members that kind of come in, so they feel more welcomed. If they're unable to attend this, I have a recording that I share with them as well. And other than that, I try to, write to them and say, hey, you can, join the group here, join this chat, or you can introduce yourself. It's not a must, but, people are very welcoming and, very warm. And our community really is. So I think that's the lovely part, that if somebody does come in new and start writing something, everybody's very supportive. Like, everyone's a cheerleader, and they're like, oh, hey, hi. And, starting commenting. So there's not a lot of negativity in that sense, so that the person does not feel backfired when they start talking. So it is a warm, welcoming atmosphere. Where do they find your community, and how you're going to communicate it across, so those people that you want to have, your target audience, can find your community, I think is super important. And as mentioned before, start small, and with them, try to hear what they need, like why they joined the community, what are the things that they're looking forward to. Is it just to chat to other members and kind of, bounce ideas off each other, or do they actually expect there to be resources? Do they want live sessions, for example, AMAs, or,
Mhm.
the ideas are a lot, and it's just like coming in.
Yeah, no.
Who's very big, who has in the same kind of business, but has started small and has grown into a really big and successful business. And it could be that they want that person, like, as a speaker, as an online session on virtual, or it can be live, that they say, hey, we want to sometimes have such types of people to learn from. I find the more resources you give to communities to kind of upskill them or to inspire them or make them, be better at what they're doing, it definitely is a very strong foundation to make them very engaged and to grow. And I think once that is successful, it will be word of mouth for other people to want to join anyway, and it will grow organically through that.
What's your top tip for the agency folks that have showed up here today to hear you and to chime in the chat? What's your top tip for them in scaling or building a thriving community?
I think top tip would definitely be, as we discussed, find the platform where your members are. Definitely. So it will be easier for you to make them be active and be in your community group, wherever that is, as it will be easier for them to discover it, because discoverability is, I think, also a really factor of having a community from scratch. Like if you're not, as you always say, Canva has like the plus side that we are easily discoverable. We're a huge company, right? But starting small, people have to discover and know about your community. So platform and discoverability are my top.
I love it. That's great.
If you enjoyed this video, you should check out this other one where agency expert Christina Romero breaks down real revenue numbers and how you can reach 6 figures in your business. My name is Zachary Mims, and I'll catch you in the next one.